So this video, as I wrote it, walking home, getting agitated in my own brain, was going to be titled Leave Marie Kondo Alone. But then I thought, actually, instead of getting annoyed at other people getting annoyed at Marie Kondo, I thought I could, in the spirit of Marie Kondo, take the high road and spark some joy in your lives. I loved Marie Kondo's book, and I think it is what it is and it's not what it's not. It does what it says on the tin. It doesn't do what it doesn't say on the tin. And she's been criticised recently for talking about her personal preference to keep 30 books in her home. She thinks that's an ideal number for her. And with her clients, she also talks about decreasing the number of books in their home if that would make them feel calmer and better about their lives. People have taken to Twitter in the gorgeous holier than thou way that they do and started criticising her. But I actually think she has a great point in, I was thinking about if Marie Kondo was in my house and she was whipping my ass and she was like, Lena, you've got to get rid. And if she suggested that I get rid of all of my books apart from 30, what would they be? And the results, my friend, is what is looking at me on the table behind me. I thought this would be a fun video to talk about the books that I really would keep, the books that I would be pissed off if somebody took from me, the books that I feel have like slightly irreplaceable positions in my life. Now, there's a battle in my head between the physical aspect of the book and the metaphorical aspect of the book. So the books I'm going to show you aren't necessarily the books that have touched my life the most. To qualify, they also inherently have some kind of special, irreplaceable physical quality, either in my experience of them and how I experienced that particular edition, or because like that edition isn't available and I think it's the most beautiful one. And because books are physical like things too, people who are like, oh, like don't judge a book by its cover, some of the ugliest books are beautiful. And I'm like, that's so true, but also if a publisher really cared about a book, it wouldn't give it an ugly cover. That is the reality of modern day publishing. Like if somebody's got a beautiful cover, I'm like, oh, they really care about this one. It's complicated is what I'm saying. So I've split my challenge into 3 categories. The first category comes from my favourite shelf. I have like a bookshelf in my house that is just all full of the books that I will never get rid of. And if I read a book that's really special, it immediately gets shelved there and like no questions asked, they're never going to leave the house basically. So the first one is my Harry Potter. I think this will be on most people's lists. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I started reading Harry Potter. The first 2 were in paperback when I first started reading them. So this hardback edition is the first time that I bought the book when it came out, and I was like truly excited to have a hardback edition. It's still weird to me that this book has a place in other people's hearts because it feels so personally mine, which is like literally ridiculous because it's probably one of the most owned books after the Bible. But like I have such a personal attachment to this edition, and I remember buying it and being really scared of this dog and being like, oh, they've put the evil person on the back. I just love this. And it still has like, look, it's got, it smells like, I was gonna say it smells like home, but it also smells like damp property. It has a Wallace and Gromit bookmark in it with St. James Church, which is a place that I used to go to, and it says Kathy on the back, and I would sell a kidney for this book. Next, Motherhood. I'm not going to shout out anymore, but particularly I love this edition because it is paperback, which it's not available in paperback yet, and because I've put so much effort into annotating it that it'd be very annoying to lose. And I also plan to dip into this book in future, and that's why I want to keep it, because I want to remind myself of how I have felt about motherhood going forward and how that matters. Whatever my ovaries tell me. Keep quiet down there. Fucking hell. Next is Undying, a Love Story by Michelle Faber. Never actually reviewed this on my channel because I haven't finished it because I don't want to. Do you ever have that? It's a beautiful poetry collection about him losing his wife and what love means, and every time I open it, my heart breaks and then I have to put it down for another few months. So look forward to a review of this in 2029. Right, so the reader, I talked about this before, but I know I want to dip into this more when I'm thinking about my career and what choices about books really matter to me. I Met Lucky People. This is a beautiful hardback edition of a book that I absolutely love, but again haven't finished because I took so many notes about it. It was so overwhelming and I wanted to learn everything in it that I still haven't finished it yet. I keep working on it, but it's a beautiful hardback edition that isn't available anymore, and the paperback is nice too. But look at this. Feral by George Monbiot, one of my favourite non-fiction books of all time. They changed the subtitle and the cover a bit for the paperback, and I'm not gonna lie, this is much better. And so to honour that book, and because I have memories of reading this book and I have so much underlining in it, I would really like to keep this book. Geek Love, in my top 2 books ever. I've got lipstick on my nose, is it just red? Just red? That's cool. I want to reread this forever. There are lots of editions of it out there that are probably better looking, but I love this shiny, strange edition that first attracted me to it. To pick it up in a bookshop in Wales, and I'd never heard about it, and it just completely changed how I thought about fiction. I have so many editions of this book, and this isn't the one I originally read, but Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I wrote my dissertation on this book. I love this one because it's in this American airport format, so I can take it travelling with me. I've read this edition loads of times, and it's got green edges, which I've never found anywhere else. So this is my favourite edition, if not my first. Harry's Last Stand. I've talked about Harry before, he's been on the channel. He recently passed away, which was really sad, and it affected me more than I thought it would. He was an activist in his 90s when I met him, and he wrote this book called Harry's Last Stand. I was his publicist, went to the Labour Party conference together, we did lots of stuff together, and he inscribed this one for me. To Lena, who was a joy to work with, bubbly and full of enthusiasm, Harry Leslie Smith. So I'll always keep this copy for like obvious reasons. And then finally in this section, I've got an American edition of the Picador Modern Classics of the Virgin Suicides. Again, one of my favourite books ever. This is a beautiful, tiny book that you can put in your pocket. I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous cover, and I wouldn't do without it. And I actually don't think it's available anymore, so I'm very much holding on to that. Next are the books that I might not keep forever, but I'm either in the middle of reading them, or I immediately want to read them, and I'd be super pissed if somebody said I had to get rid of them. So these ones I'm like immediately like wrapping my arms around and being like, no, get away from my books. The first one is The Island by Ragnar Jonasson. It is a prequel to the book I talked about before, The Darkness. Halfway through it, I actually can't breathe. I don't know why I'm even filming this video. I should be reading this. An Ocean of Minutes by Thea Lim. I saw Thea Lim speak. I went to a book event at the Canadian Embassy, and she was speaking, and she was incredible. And I won't go into the premises of the book now, but look it up. Oh, I read the first few pages on the bus home, and I was like, we'll put this aside for now, because I'm in the middle of about 10 books, but I have to read this soon. I think it sounds incredible, and from the cover I wouldn't necessarily have picked it up, but the premise, man, you'll be actually annoyed that you didn't think of this idea first and then write it first. Like, it's good. Oh no, this has got damaged. No. Oh well, this was my beautiful edition of Your Silence Will Not Protect You by Audre Lorde. She wrote an essay called Poetry is Not Luxury, which was one of my favourite essays ever, and I was looking forward to reading more of her essays in this pristine edition that I had, but somehow I've damaged it, which is very sad. Anyway, you know when you have a feeling that a book's going to have an impact in your life? I feel like that with Audre Lorde. I've read some of her stuff, and I'm excited to feel like more of a fan of her once I feel like I've thoroughly read more of her thoughts. That's Your Lot, Limmy. This is one of the funniest short story collections I fucking ever picked up, and I squeal when I'm reading it before I go to sleep, and Craig's like genuinely like, shut up. Gone by Min Kim. As a proof, I've had it since like probably January 2017, and I still haven't read it, and it still sounds amazing, and I've kind of been waiting so long to read it now that it would be really annoying to lose it at this stage, because I'm so determined to read it, and it's survived so many culls, so many book massacres, that I'm stubborn. I will read this. I will keep it. The next one is a proof of Caroline Crida Perez's Invisible Women, exposing data biases in a world designed for men. The facts in this, guys, we're going to put this down because I'm going to get too angry. But basically, scientifically, seatbelts are designed for the male body. So women are 47% more likely to die in car crashes than men. Good. That's just one of the facts that made me want to read this book. But Caroline Crida Perez is a campaigner. She is one of the people that got a suffragette in Parliament Square. She helped get Jane Austen on the banknotes, and she's great. Angels in America. This is an edition I bought from the National Theatre after seeing Andrew Garfield in the most recent staging of this play, and once I saw the very long play, I was like, I will read the very long script of the play. That's how good it was. Crudo by Olivia Lang. I just want to read this quite soon because I think I'd love it. The end. And also gross but beautiful cover that I'll probably keep just for like design element stuff. Elegance of the Hedgehog. I bought this on my gap year 10 years ago, and I know I'll like it, and I've read some of it, but I didn't read the whole of it, and it's been 10 years. And I still really think I'm going to read this book. So I will. And then finally in this category is Speeches of Note, a celebration of the old, new and unspoken. I've been loving this. I did an Instagram post about it a while ago, and I keep it by my bed and I dip into it all the time. Not your average coffee table collection of random stuff. It's properly well curated and really beautiful, and some speeches that I would never have come across on my own. Finally, books that I'm keeping because I genuinely just think they're pretty and I don't care. That's my prerogative. I literally have a shelf in my living room that's just like books that are well made. And I collect it like other people would collect creepy China dolls or plates with Cliff Richard's face on. And I've accepted that that's my part in the universe. It's good to accept the place that you hold in the universe, and that is mine. The first one is The Nest, Kenneth Opal. Never read it, but what a cover. Oh, it's got honeybees on it, and then it's got this semi-transparent cover. Beautiful. What a format. Like it all short and fat. Sexy. American limited edition of Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. One of my favourite essays collection evers. It's my favourite essay collection. I love it. It's got a picture of her in the front, ready to have a fight with you. Beautiful spine. Irreplaceable. You're irreplaceable. Amelia Ann is Dead and Gone is a YA story I've never read, but I've kept this book for about 6 years because I think the cover is a masterpiece and it kind of makes me cry every time I look at it. So why open it? Am I right? I don't really believe in accumulating books like this, but I think on a small level it's totally fine, especially as somebody who works in publishing, wants to use them as references in future of how to publish, and like sometimes brings them into work to be like, we should publish a book like this. It's fine. It's fine. The Book of Numbers by Joshua Cohen. This book, the dust jacket, there's lots of overlays of different symbols on different CMYK printing things. I know things about art, it's fine. But this is the dust jacket that was covering the book, and when you open the dust jacket up, it's a circle. Oh my god. It turns into a circle poster. So I think that's a great feat of production. Look at that cover as well on the back. And it's, again, I think it's out of print, so I would like to keep it for historical reasons that I am yet to really understand. This is the new Haruki Murakami. Not a huge Haruki Murakami fan, but this is the underside. I actually threw away the dust jacket because the underside was so beautiful. I can't even begin to talk about how beautiful this cover is. If it had no words in it, I would still keep it. S.E. Fox, Elijah's Mermaid. One of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. I really enjoyed reading this book as well. Will I reread it? Probably. At some point, but I'm not. Who would bin a cover like this? This is not a binable cover. We the Drowned, I really want to read this year. What a cover. What a spine. What a family saga. Very long, but I've heard very, very good. A foiled hardback of The Gracekeepers, which is one of my favourite books by Kirsty Logan. It's about a floating circus. I don't know what else to say to you. I adore it. And this cover in particular just enchanted me. Like, as soon as I saw this cover, I was like, I want that as a tattoo. I want that on my face. It's so beautiful. And again, I love keeping really good quality hardbacks like this because you can't get them anymore. Gone with the Wind. Never read it. Will I ever? But this is a beautiful... It kind of looks like hand-dyed. It's got a corrugated spine and corrugated paper all over it. A brick of glory, and it's got great end papers as well. And I'm never going to part with that book. I don't really care if I ever... Somebody tell me in the comments if you actually read, like, Gone with the Wind and it's worth reading. Probably. It's only one of the greatest books ever written, Lena. Well, whatever. And then finally... because this covers my anxiety about getting rid of all the poetry collections I might get rid of, hypothetically, in this situation. Poetry Please, published by Radio 4, the nation's best loved poems, because I discovered a lot of poets and poems because of this book. It's a great reference guide for some of the most famous poetry in the UK ever. It's got loads of modern stuff, loads of classic stuff. I curl up with this when my brain is like a damp salad and it doesn't know what to do. Poetry Please always knows what to do. Okay, tell me in the comments any books you can think of that you would keep and why. If the Kondo comes knocking, what books would you keep? Because it's good to think about, and it's made me think about other books that I thought I cared about but actually didn't make the list, so maybe I shall get rid of them. So keep books, steal books, borrow books, buy books, do whatever you want with books, just keep the books close. Very important for the future of humanity. Thanks, Marie Kondo. I think you're great, even if Twitter doesn't, and I'll see you in my next one. Frogs Nog out. Thumbnail. Oh my god. I'm gonna get a wank injury from a thumbnail pose. Oh, oh. Oh my god. Who needs to hold things ever again, am I right?